Hey, William Gilmore here for the ScreenwritersJourney.com. It is day 271 of the journey. It's been about a week since my last blog, and there's been a lot happen in the past week that I need to try and catch you up on. I probably won't go over all of it. I'll save some of it for the next blog. But we had the ScriptFest, home of the Great American Pitch Festival, was last weekend. Went to rewrites, took in the first or second 10 pages of Devil's Tramping Ground. And, of course, we had the holiday weekend when I spent a lot of time trying to catch up on things and do some writing. So let's just jump right in with ScriptFest 2016, home of the Great American Pitch Festival, and what happened there. It was a 3-day event last weekend, and I've been there before. I did it 2 or 3 years ago, and so I kind of knew what to expect. And I was sort of judging the Nashville conference I went to about a month ago on this particular event. And I came out of Nashville really liking Nashville a lot. So ScriptFest had some big shoes to fill, let's say. And it wasn't all good. It wasn't all bad, but it wasn't all good. It started off a little rough when I showed up at registration to get my credentials in the afternoon. And I didn't get the directory of all the people who would be there for the Pitch Fest. Now, there's an opening night party, and then on Saturday there was the breakout sessions and different classes you can attend. A couple more parties to go to, luncheons if you paid extra to go to executive luncheons, and another party in the evening. And then on Sunday, the last day of the festival, was the Great American Pitch Fest, where you get to pitch to 120 or so companies. And when you sign up, you're supposed to get a directory of all the people who will be there so you know who to pitch to and not just waste your time getting in the wrong lines. If you go for the platinum, the big expensive deal, you get a hard copy printed out. But if you're going for the lower level, you get a digital directory. Now, when I went to it before, they gave us little thumb drives like this that had the directory on it. And you could look everybody up and see who you wanted to pitch to. Well, when I got my credentials, there was no thumb drive in there. And so I asked about that, and where do I get my directory? And then, well, you don't get one. You didn't pay for the full package. You just got the pitch package, so you don't get one. I went, no. That's not the deal that was on the website. And several other people were complaining about it also. And so after some going back and forth and checking with the people who were founding and running the festival, oh yes, you do get a digital copy, and that was emailed to you a couple of weeks ago. No, it wasn't emailed to me. I didn't get it, and apparently none of these other people standing around me got it either. So we need a copy. Oh, give us your email. We will have it to you by lunch. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This was the first day. We'll have it to you this evening. We'll have it to you this evening. So I'm like, okay, great. So went about my business, took care of a few things, and then came back to the opening night party. And as opening night parties go, it really wasn't a party. It was kind of like, hey, the hotel's got a bar. Why don't everybody just go in there and start a tab? So that's what I did. And there were a few people in there. I met a couple of other screenwriters. Jonathan Gagnon from Vancouver. We actually hung out a fair amount over the weekend and got to know each other pretty well. Really cool guy, stand-up comedian. Went to open mic night here in LA while he was here, and he's headed back now. But anyway, so I got to meet him, met a couple other people, met people who had nothing to do with the ScriptFest, who were just in town for other business. So I'm like, well, this isn't really a party. This was kind of like, hey, if you guys want to get together, go to the bar. Okay, that's fine. I would have thought, a welcoming event, somebody from the Pitch Fest might have been there, one of the organizers. Didn't see them. Nobody else did either. There was one woman who was there, Whitney Davis, who's literary manager. She pretty much made the festival. She was out and about, meeting people, shaking hands, finding out what you did, what have you written. She does a lot of TV work. She does some film stuff. She doesn't do horror, which is what I was sort of pitching this weekend. So, but I did make good contact with her, and we actually had a good time hanging out. We spent a fair amount of time with each other over the weekend, as she did with everybody. I mean, she was she was out socializing and meeting people and working it. She really was. And she made a big impression on a lot of people. People really liked her workshop. They enjoyed her consultations. People just meeting her at the social events, wanted to make sure they got with her at some point to pitch ideas to her. She was really working the event. And she was sort of what the whole event should have been. But a lot of the other people didn't show up, but we'll get to that. So when as the party starting to wind down in the bar, I checked my email and I had not received my digital copy yet. So back to registration, there was somebody hanging out there and like, oh, we're so sorry. We will get it to you before the night is over. Give us your email address. I've already given you my email address once. Okay, fine. I get home, still nothing. Get up the next morning, check the email, still nothing. So when I got back on the second day, the day of the breakout sessions, I immediately went to registration and go, where is my digital copy? Oh, we're so sorry. It should have been emailed to you. Give us your email address and you'll have it by lunch. Okay. So off I went to the breakout sessions. Now I tried to do as many as I could. I was spending a few minutes in each one, just trying to get a good flavor for the whole event so I could let people know what was going on. And I did some live video on Facebook for that and was tweeting live from the different breakout sessions. So if you've already followed along on that, you kind of know what I'm going to tell you. If you missed those, here we go. The first one I went to was Pilar Alessandra's pitch class. And it's a class that I've taken before. I took it the last time I did this event. And I found it very useful last time. But this time, having a little more experience under my belt and having gone through a number of pitching sessions now, I found it to be a little basic and generic. It's probably really good for beginners who have no idea what they're doing. And it's a good jumping off point. But for someone who's got a little bit more experience, who's done pitching, I'm not sure it was quite worthwhile. That's the best way I can put it. The presentation was kind of bland. Not a lot of enthusiasm for it. Granted, there were a lot of people getting up and trying to do pitches that just, I don't even know what they were saying. And Pilar was very polite and kind and helped them along with their pitches. So she was kind of tied down by that. And it was a huge class, lots of people, one of the biggest classes there. So she didn't get to get as personal as you might have liked in a class like that. From there, I went to another one about getting rid of your bad habits that get in the way of your writing, and that was kind of a touchy-feely. I really didn't get much out of that class. John Ruby, I believe, was the guy who was teaching that one. He did do a pitch class later in the day that I actually got some stuff out of, so he had some good information. I'm just not sure that put your phone down and go write. You should know that. Just wasn't a whole lot there. There was a few people, and people were walking out. It just wasn't a very entertaining, very engaging class. From there, I went to Whitney Davis's class, and that rocked by comparison. I only got to spend about 20 minutes in the class, and I got more out of that 20 minutes than I probably did the rest of the classes combined, except for one. She was entertaining. She was engaging. Class was laughing. People lining up to talk with her afterwards. She knocked it out of the park. She really did. And that was just one part of what she did. She was all over that festival, working it and really helping people. I have to give her props for that. So lunchtime hit, and if you paid for one of the more expensive packages, you got to go to a special luncheon with industry professionals and executives and people who were doing the breakout sessions and whatnot. And there were two luncheons, one each day, and there were supposed to be 2 to 4 industry professionals at each table. Well, the luncheon was outside in the hot California sun on sort of uneven grassy area, so some of the tables were a little tilted and a little awkward looking. And I talked to a number of people afterwards who said, there was nobody at my table. And there was nobody at the table next to me. And so I had to get up and start going around to tables to find someone that I could, network with. And the people who were at that table didn't like people from other tables coming over and infringing on their time. So there was a lot of sort of dissent among attendees who paid for that luncheon. And they said the food was terrible.
Every person I spoke to said it was some of the worst food they'd ever had, so they were not real happy. I did speak to one woman who had an agent, actually, who was at her table, and she said he was very rude, condescending, and, I want to eat my food and get out of here. I don't really want to talk to people. So they felt that they had gotten, I want to say ripped off, but they felt they were led on by, that was her words, she was led on by going to the luncheon. So something to keep in mind in the future if you do on these festivals. The add-on extras like that, where you're supposed to get extra time with people. Even if there is somebody at your table, you've only got an hour, and there's 12 other people at your table, all vying for that person's attention, and that person just wants to have lunch because they've just come out of breakout sessions, they've been doing consultations, they're getting ready to go back in to do that. This is their moment to relax a little bit, only they can't because they got all these people coming at them, and so I'm not sure that those are worth the extra money, so I don't do them. Anyway, I checked my email, and I still did not have my digital copy of the directory, and it's now less than 24 hours away from pitching, and I have no idea who's going to be there or who to pitch to. So back to registration. Who is going to be here? Can I get a copy of this? And I spoke to Bob Schultz, who's the co-founder and president of ScriptFest, and he was like, I'll email it to you right now. And I was like, it's a little late. There's not that much time left, and if I want to do breakout sessions or do any of these other things, I don't really have time to go sit down on my laptop, and I brought my laptop with me to do that, and I don't want to look at it on my phone because that's just too small, because it's big long pages stuff. I'll show it to you in a second. And he was like, no, absolutely not. You did not pay for a book. I asked for a book. Can I just get the hard copy at this point? He's like, no, absolutely not. You cannot have that. You did not pay for that. You get a digital copy. I was like, yeah, but I was supposed to get the digital copy a couple weeks ago. It hasn't shown up yet. This is the 4th time that I've asked for it now. So he did sit down right then and there and email it to me. And it probably would have been fine. Should have given me the book. But he goes, this stuff's been on the website for weeks. It's your own due diligence to look this stuff up. I went, there's nothing on the website. Because yes, there is. Come around here, I'll show you. So he pulls up the website. Now, when I look at the website, and I click on one of the companies that's going to be there, and you go to see their information, email address, or who the contact person is, or what they're looking for, it's all grayed out and says, this information is only available to people who pay for the pitch session, which I had paid for. So I should have had access to that information, but it's not there. He pulls up the page, and I'm like, aha, see? It's not there. He goes, no, wait. Just scroll down to the bottom of the page, and all that information that's grayed out at the top is listed at the bottom. Okay, there's a couple things wrong with that. One, that's really bad web design. To put at the top of your page, none of this information is available, but if you just scroll down, the information is all available. 2, if you're trying to make this exclusive, only people who pay for the pitch session get the information on how to contact these people and what the contact names are, don't put the information on the web page, because then it's available to everybody, and why did I have to pay extra for it? And in fact, I get to the pitch session. It just bad all around. Not handled well, bad PR, and he wouldn't give me the hard copy. I did get the email with the digital copy, and so I moved into the lobby of the hotel and sat down and started trying to scan through it, when another screenwriter came up to me and says, hey, what are you doing? I said, I'm looking for the stuff because I didn't get it, and I'm kind of hurried now. And he's like, don't worry. I have an extra copy. I got an extra one. You can have my extra. So I got the book anyway. It made things a lot easier. And you can see, I don't know if you can see this here on this, all that information was grayed out on the website. But if you scroll down far enough, down past all that grayed out information, all that information was listed again, only not grayed out. So, not well done. Not well done. So I didn't get to go to many sessions in the afternoon because I was busy dealing with this and trying to go through things. But I did get into a logline pitch clinic with Scotty Mullen, who's one of the writers on Sharknado. And that pitch session was awesome. It was a smaller group than Pilar had, but there was still a number of people, and it was still quite large. But they were having people come up front and pitch to the whole room, pitch your story, and this panel of 4 people would sort of critique it and walk them through what they did wrong, how they can reshape that and make that work, and how to get the hook out immediately to engage the person that you're pitching to. And it was a great session. They really took some really bad pitches and turned it around and really made them quite interesting. So that was a really good class to sit in on. Very, very worthwhile. And then at the end of the day, they had another small executive party at the end of the day that I don't think any executives were at except for Whitney Davis, who again was working the festival like a bandit. So if you were going to one of these extra parties, and I'm not sure if that one required a ticket to get into or not. I got into it. I didn't have a ticket, so I don't know if it did or not. Got a glass of wine, talked to a lot of other screenwriters, but no executives other than Whitney. So, again, I'm not sure that was, if you had to pay extra for that, probably not worth it because you could have just gone to the bar and gotten a drink. Which is where the next party was supposed to happen. They had a pitch clinic going on where you got to practice your pitch in front of other people. You just kind of rotate down a row and pitch person after person after person. You just do it like 10, 15 times. I did that 2 or 3 years ago. Interesting, didn't get a whole lot out of it, and then learn how to say your pitch really, really fast. So I did not spend the extra $7,500 to do that again. Instead, I decided to go to the party on the patio. Only it didn't start on time. There was nobody there. It was just an empty bar. So I'll go into the hotel bar, where most of the other screenwriters were all standing around waiting for the patio party to start. And most people just stayed in the bar. A few people came in and said, "Hey, what's happening with the party on the patio? There's nobody out there." It's because we're all in here. So again, not well organized, not set up well. I'm sure a lot of people who came out of that practice clinic, they had to walk through the patio, so they may have stopped there and got their party on. But most of the rest made it into the bar where we closed the place out. Again, meeting a lot of people. There were a lot of people that night for the Pitch Fest, so I met a lot of people. Whitney was back in there working the crowd, meeting people, finding out different stories people had. And so that leads us into Sunday for the big event, the Pitch Festival itself, the Great American Pitch Fest. And like the first 2 days, that sort of started with a stumble. There was apparently some kind of traffic incident on the 405 freeway, and apparently a lot of people didn't show up. And by people, I mean companies that we were supposed to be pitching to. I went through and counted them at one point, and I think there were 45 out of 130 companies, so it was like 35% of companies did not make it for the start of the fest. By lunchtime, some of those had straggled in, and we were down to about 25%. I didn't count after lunch. But at the start of lunch, about 25% of the companies were missing. So not a good thing if you spent a lot of money and flew across the country and wanted to meet with someone and they didn't show up. But that's not really the Pitch Fest fault. That's not Bob Schultz company. They can't be held responsible for that. That is up to the companies that signed up to be there. And still, there were probably close to 100 companies by lunchtime that were there listening to pitches. And that's a lot of companies. You're probably only going to get about 30 pitches in. If you go in and do one pitch, come out and get in line, and you're first in line for the next session, you're going to get about 6 an hour. So you can get in about 30 over the course of the day, and that's if you're just on top of it. And you're not stopping to take notes, or you're not getting in a line that's got maybe 2 or 3 people in front of you because this is the person you really want to talk to. So you have to really judge your line. Do I wait in here, or do I try and get another one in over here? You might be able to get 2 in the time it'll take you to wait to get in this one line. So the things you just got to judge and figure out what you're going on. But you can get probably about 30 in. I got 16 in over the course of that day, and did pretty well. I ran out of one-sheets, so that's good. And I had to email some one-sheets to other people. The thing with one-sheets that you need to know if you go to one of these pitch fests, a lot of people just take everyone's one-sheet. That's it. You do the pitch, you can have your one-sheet. Because that person is not someone who's in a decision-making level. So they're taking everything and they're taking it back to their bosses and letting them go through the one-sheets. So giving a one-sheet's not necessarily a good thing. It makes you feel good, but some of the companies, they're just taking everybody's one-sheet. Some of them are being more selective. Sometimes you'll get turned down. What? They're taking everybody over there. So you got to kind of, you got to judge the one-sheet deal. Are they really interested or not? I did go through all my one-sheets. I had to email some asked to have them emailed. If they ask you to email, your one sheet, they're probably at least somewhat interested. And then I had a couple of script requests, and that's always a big deal when they actually want to see the script. So I got a couple of those. So that was really good. I have more scripts out right now for reads than I think I've ever had at any other time. So between Nashville and this one, I'm very happy. What else about the fest? That's about it. There was a little closing party, and again, very disorganized as far as, just kind of you show up in the bar and drink. A lot of the peripheral things were kind of haphazard and slapdash. They didn't seem to put as much time into that as they did into the other events. And so the long and short of it is, are festivals like this worth it? Is the ScriptFest, Great American Pitch Festival, something you should look at in the future? If you're a beginner, absolutely. Because it gives you a chance to figure out how to do a pitch. And when you're going in there, you're going after pitch after pitch after pitch after pitch. By the end of the day, you get pretty good at it. You're quick, and you figure out what has worked and what hasn't worked, and you can knock it out real fast. And you've got time left over to actually talk to the person you're pitching to and get to know them, maybe make a personal connection. And that's something that I learned at Nashville. You're not trying so much to sell your script as trying to make that personal connection. You're a writer who's got interesting ideas, someone they may want to talk to in the future for either an assignment, they may be interested in your script, or they may want to hear what other ideas you have. But you have to get that connection with them to get their contact information so that you can continue that relationship down the road. And I think I did that. So I'm very pleased with that. Plus I got those extra reads. So for that networking purpose, these kind of things are good, particularly if you're a beginner because you're just starting out. Don't expect some of the big companies that are there that are going to be interested in your script, because Leonardo DiCaprio is probably not going to be in your movie. He's just probably not. Maybe, but his production company probably isn't really going to pay that much attention to your script. It's just something you got to be aware of, and you got to be okay with that. So don't wait in line an hour to get into Leonardo DiCaprio's company when you can get into 5 or 6 other companies in the same amount of time. It's all about the numbers. The more you can hit, the better your chances are. The workshops, the ones that I attended, I didn't think were quite as good as Nashville. They were a little more basic, a little more beginner. So if you're a beginner, those are really great. And like I said, I didn't get to all of the classes, so some of them may have been geared more to people with a little more experience under the belt. So it's one of those things you just kind of have to judge and engage and see what this is what I need to get out of it to make it worthwhile for me. I would say you don't need to spend the $1,000 for the deluxe platinum edition and getting all the hoo-ha, and you got a free bottle of wine. Well, it wasn't really free. You paid $1,000 for it. And you got a luncheon at a table that may or may not have had somebody at it. And you got to go to parties that all the other screenwriters were at, and it was just in a bar that you could have gone into anyway. So why pay all that extra money? You can get by a lot cheaper. I go into a lot more detail about all this in the blog below. I know this is starting to ramble on. There's a lot of information, so I was trying to get through it quickly and not make this too long. But there's a lot of information here, and I want to tell you all about the follow-ups that I did in getting the scripts out and getting those one-sheets out to people who asked for them. But I'll do that in another email or another blog. Plus, I've got information about contests that I've entered in, and We Screenplay as an interesting little gimmick to try and get you to get coverage from them. But it's interesting, and I will tell you about that also probably in tomorrow's blog. So please check back and find out what's going on. I got another rewrites workshop coming up. We're taking another 10 pages of Tramping Iron. Plus, I got to tell you what happened with last week and what's happened on that. So there's all kinds of stuff going on. I've only got a limited amount of time, and that's going to wrap it up this time for the ScreenwritersJourney.com. I'm William Gilmore. Please keep writing, and we will see you next time right here on the blog.